Trial Tuesday once again. Today we're talking about how to keep your family and your property safe as we head into Halloween and the holidays. Attorney David Ayler, always a graveyard smash and the gift that keeps on giving, is here with some practical legal advice. Counselor, thanks so much for coming back on the show. We do appreciate that. Let's talk about Halloween. You know, people associate that with a lot of fun. Of course, there's the kids out trick-or-treating, but it can be kind of a dangerous time.
Yeah, you really got to watch yourself, particularly with young children running around a lot of different neighborhoods. Sometimes you kind of see them implanted into other neighborhoods, and if you're either watching those children and they're going into those yards, which sometimes aren't well lit, or you actually are at the home that they're visiting, you got to make sure you're safe.
Absolutely. This is a concern for parents, you know, because you're walking on other people's properties. Sometimes they have steps, things like that, concrete pathways. What is the legality? Tell me about, say, a child, you know, accidentally trips and falls on a cape on your property. Are you responsible? Are you liable for any injuries that might become?
Well, first of all, they have to look at whether or not they're welcome to be there. And obviously, if your lights are on and you're saying, you know, you got some music playing, the pumpkin's out, you would show that it's attractive to come and that you're allowed to come. And then beyond that, more often than not, yes, you would be liable. Probably most likely would come under your homeowner's insurance. But when you have those out there that are inherent dangers or could be, those are things that you have to be responsible for ahead of time, particularly, again, if you're inviting people over.
Absolutely. Is that the same thing with a haunted house kind of a situation as well? If you have some things that might pop out at people or scare people and they get injured by that somehow, is that kind of fall under the same?
Well, yeah, you're definitely looking at a liability situation there. In fact, we've heard about a couple of them around the country where things have fallen or whatnot, and so that is a risk you're taking. Now, they say come in at your own risk, and all those type of sort of waivers you see when you're going in, often those don't stand up in court, because the bottom line is if they're profiting from having you attend there, then you have to have a safe environment. Otherwise, yes, it would come back on the people running it.
So even if it has that placard outside or a sign or something like that that nobody reads because you just go right through it and you want to have some fun, that's not going to stand up?
You know, there's all these different types of waivers and different clauses they put in about assume at your own risk and things like that. But more often than not, those get thrown out because the bottom line is there's still a certain level that they have to reach of an expectation for you and I or anyone's safety when they come in. And it's the same at your house or your yard.
Indeed. Let's talk a little about, you know, maybe some of the older kids. They want to go out and pull a couple of Halloween pranks, the trick or the treat, more of the trick, and they egg a house. They toilet paper house, favorite pastimes of some people in the studio right now, and they get caught. Tell me about the legality of that.
Well, it's a lot different than, per se, when we would have done it, you know, where it might have been come over to this neighbor's house or this girl that you like's house and clean it up. You see things like trespassing, damage to the property, different things like that, more coming from the criminal side. So, you know, unfortunately, as time goes on, things get more strict, and you also are risking more, you know, with different laws in place related to the person protecting their property. But I think if you got caught, then you're more than likely going to be charged criminally. Didn't Justin Bieber get charged? So if he can get charged, then anybody can get charged.
Very good point right there. Let's talk about the holidays as well, because that's when kind of personal property. You see this happen every year. People go to shopping malls, they're buying things, they're putting it in their car, then they get smashed into. Tell me about what recourse that someone would have during that.
Well, you got to look at the security of the place that you're in. Now, there are going to be some things that fall back on the person. A lot of times last season, I think we even talked about people exposing gifts or their purse or their wallet sort of out in the car, leaving it in plain sight, and then it gets broken into. But there are levels of security that any of these stores have to reach, you know, so that, again, they're inviting you. When you bring someone in, whether it's your residence, you know, personally, or it's a professional business, you've got to reach these standards. If a person is injured, whether it be financially, of course, physically, more likely than not, there's going to be some insurance coverage to go after.
You're going to assume some of that risk. Also, another risk, drinking and driving, very popular on Halloween and the holidays, so please do not do it.
Absolutely. Checkpoints out all over the place, starting right here in Mount Pleasant for Halloween.
All right, David Ayler, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate that. Hope you have a great Halloween, great holiday season.
You as well.
Of course, you, everybody out there as well. So stay tuned. More Lowcountry Live coming up next.
Trial Tuesday, brought to you by attorney David Ayler.